Are you guys ready for the next comic tonight?
Yeah!
Are you guys ready for the next comic tonight? Coming up to the stage right now is a man that I look up to because that he is taller than I am, and it pisses me off. Another one of the class comedians. I want everybody to please give a big round of applause for Antoine Wilson. Let's give it up one more time for the comedians you already heard tonight. All right, fuck them. Okay. So I was driving the other day, and I was driving down the street, and I get to a stoplight. And when I get to the stoplight, I see this little kid, and he's on the sidewalk, and he's playing with his toys. And I just sat there, and I just reminisced about when we were that age, when life was that simple. And we didn't have to think about, stressful things like midterms or going to work or Brandon going to CVS to get Plan B because we ran out of condoms. We didn't have to think about stuff like that. And then the light turned green and I pulled off, and the kid was playing with his toys, and his toys jumped off the sidewalk and went in the street. So I had to swerve real fast to make sure I ran that motherfucker over. Because that kid needs to learn at an early age that life isn't fair. And people will go out their way to fuck you over. The irony in that story is that I work with kids. And I love working with kids because they say and they do some of the funniest shit ever. We got this one kid at the school that I work with that loves to jack off. His goal in life is to get by himself and wear one out real quick. And I don't judge him because when I was that age, I had the biggest forearms in my neighborhood because I spent a lot of Antoine time. But you can't do that at school. That's not appropriate. And so when he does it, we try to stop him. But there was one day when he went to the bathroom, and another one of the guys I work with, he came up to me and goes, "Hey, Antoine, Timmy's in the bathroom, and I think he's doing his thing." And I was like, "Well, James, you need to go stop him. That's fucking nasty." So James goes in there, and then he comes back. He goes, "I can't stop him. He might rip his thing off." I'm like, "That's physically impossible. He's not going to rip it off, but let's just go in there." And so we go in there, and Timmy just going to work. He's wah, 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 wah. I don't know what he was thinking about, Dora the Explorer or something, but he was going to work. And so I'm like, "James, you need to get him up." And I was like, "You know what, fuck it. Just let him finish, and then we'll handle the appropriateness of it after the fact." So Timmy's going, and Timmy finishes, and as soon as Timmy finishes, James leans in to get him up. And as soon as James leans in, Timmy takes his hand and puts it in James's mouth. I lie to you not, James stood up and he looked at me in my eyes and goes, "Does this make me gay?" And the first thing that popped in my head was like, "Fuck! Now we can't go back to Chick-fil-A." My priorities are fucked up. But my job has put me in a position to do things that I never get the chance to do. Actually, it put me in a position to do things that most black people don't get the opportunity to do. And that's go to church with white people. One of my co-workers came up to me, she goes, "Antoine, you should come to church with me and my husband this Sunday." And I was like, "Well, let me think about it. I've never went to white people church. I don't know what that consists of, so let me get back to you." So I go home and I call up my grandmother. My grandmother is 92 years old, so she's seen a lot, she's done a lot. And I'm like, "Hey, Grandma, one of my co-workers who happens to be white asked me to go to church with her and her husband this Sunday. What do you think?" My grandma goes, "Well, baby, you know when white people go to church, it's just a secret KKK rally, don't you?" I'm like, that's impossible. She's in an interracial marriage. Her husband is Asian. My grandmother goes, "Well, baby, you know an Asian man is just a white man with slanted eyes that can't drive." I'm like, "Grandma, that's racist. Plus, he's good at math too. Don't forget that." So anyway, I decided I'm gonna go. I want to do this. And so I go to my coworker. I was like, "What should I wear?" Because at black churches, we're wearing suits and ties and Easter Skittle colors and stuff. And so I'm like, "What should I wear to church with white people?" And she's like, "Well, you can dress down." be casual. I was like, okay. So I wore like a nice little button-up shirt, no tie, some slacks, something simple. When I pulled up, I was confused as hell. I looked at the crowd outside. I saw Virginia Tech hoodies. I saw jeans, flip-flops, and Orange Effect shirts. I said, where the fuck am I? Lane Stadium? I done drove into a tailgate. But anyway, I get past that, and I go in there, and I sit in the back because I just want to observe. I don't want to be a part of the show because I don't know what's going to happen. And the church service was actually pretty cool. It's what you would expect, a bunch of clapping and dancing, offbeat, but they were having fun for the Lord. And so I'm sitting there, and the service is finishing up, and I laugh to myself. I'm like, yo, my grandma, that old bat, she's so silly. This isn't a KKK rally. I've never been to one, but I'm pretty sure it's not like this. And right when the pastor is finishing up, he makes eye contact with me in the back corner, and then he looks at the congregation. He goes, and I just want to apologize for this Sunday being different. Our dry cleaner was running late. On your way out, please pick up your white hoods and white gowns and meet me on the front yard. Ain't this about a bitch? I got the fuck out there as fast as possible. Now, while we're getting to know each other, let me ask you a question. Does anybody here have a friend that the more time you spend with them, the worse your decision making becomes? Does anybody have any friends like that? Do you guys have any friends like that? Sit in front.
I used to.
You used to? What was his name?
His name's Kevin.
Ken? Kevin.
Yeah.
Fuck Kevin. We don't like Kevin.
Yeah, no more.
My friend's name is Captain Morgan. The more I hang out with the captain, the more likely I am to do some dumb shit. And it's not just my fault. It's not me and the captain. We're good when it's just us. It's when there are other friends around that things get confusing. Because I drink responsibly. When I drink by rules. You know the rule: beer before liquor. You've never been sicker. My friends don't exactly follow those rules. They're like, beer before liquor. Ah, fuck it. We're just gonna get drunk quicker. Like, no, that's not how it goes. But when I get in those situations, Captain has me about to do some dumb shit like fuck fat chicks. And I don't have an issue with fat chicks. I think big girls are beautiful. I'm just a small guy. There's a weight limit to my body. There's only so much pressure I can take on me before I can no longer breathe. And I think that's okay to have preferences. Because another preference of mine are big titties. I love women with big titties. And I don't mean like regular size titties. I don't mean like the size of your titties, man. If you have nice titties, they just don't do anything for me. I like the titties so big that she can't bend over and tie her shoe without the titties slapping her in the face. I like the titties so big that she has to lift the motherfucker up and put deodorant under it because it sweats so much. That's what I like. And since we're still getting to know each other a little bit more, I feel so close with everybody. Has anybody else here stalked a stranger on Facebook so much that they fell in love with them? Or is that just me? So it's just me. So everybody else is happy and in relationships, except for you. We heard your situation earlier. Fuck her. We don't like her. I used to be in a relationship. I used to be happy. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to the point that she showed me that she was in love with me. She didn't tell me. She showed me, because girls will show you before they tell you. And this is how I found out she was in love with me. We were sitting on the couch, and she goes, babe, I need to go to the bathroom. I was like, all right, well, you know where it is. It's right down the hallway. So she gets up, and she goes to the bathroom, and this is how I knew that she loved me. She didn't turn on the sink or the shower before she went to the bathroom. Any girl that doesn't care if you can hear what they're doing in the bathroom is in love with you. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I'm not creepy, but it's just awesome to me that she didn't do it. So I'm listening and I'm like, wow, this girl really loves me. She might be the one. And then I hear, bloop, bloop, bloop. Bitch, are you shitting in my bathroom? And so we broke up that day because she obviously was ready to take this relationship in a place that I wasn't ready to take it. I wasn't ready to have a girl stinking up my bathroom using all my goddamn toilet paper. But it's cool. She was cool. We actually had fun, and I probably should have broken up with her before that. Because when we go back to the preferences, like the big titties that I like, I also like kinky girls. I like girls that have tried new things. And one day, me and the girl were hanging out, and she goes, "Hey babe, let's role play." I was like, "All right, let's do that. I'm interested in that. Let's do it." I was like, "What do you want to role play as?" She goes, "Well, I've thought about this before, and I want to role play as KKK member and slave." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, we can work with this." And it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me if she wanted to try, because I'm into trying new things. I'll give it a shot. What bothered me is that she already had the costume in her closet. "Hey babe, I don't mind that you want to be racist and a white supremacist, but why do you already have the uniform?" And she goes, "Oh, I just picked it up on my way home from church today." I said, "Goddamn, grandma was right." Now, I joke, was that a dog?
Yes.
Is Shaggy here too, or is it just the dog?
President Bush.
President Bush, what? We're not talking about politics, sir. You just keep drinking. I joke about racism, but racism still exists, and it's very sad. And I know this because I experienced it recently. I was walking down the street, and this old white lady was walking towards me. And, well, for the sake of the story, let's give her a name. Let's call her Bitch, okay? So I'm walking down the street, and Bitch was walking towards me. And as we got closer to each other, she took her purse, and she put her purse on the other side of her. And as we walked past each other, she clenched her purse real tight as she was walking past me. And I saw it, and I stopped, and I turned around, and I said, "Yo, Bitch!" Because that's her name in the story. I said, "How dare you do that in the year 2012 when we have Kim Kardashian sleeping with every black celebrity you've ever known, when we have a black president for now? How dare you see me, walk towards me, take your purse, put it on the other side of you, walk past me and clench it tight as if I couldn't still take that motherfucker from you?" So I did. I took that motherfucker and held it above my head, because that's what Martin Luther King would have wanted. And you guys have been great.